It's great to be here. That's exactly right. Good morning, everybody. Bonjour. As a show of hands before I start, how many of you speak French in the audience? We have quite a bit. Second question, how many of you actually use AI today in your daily work? Very good. Excellent. Very good. So, anyway, I'm very happy to be here. My name is Paul Bloch. I'm president and co-founder of a company called DDN. And although some of you might not be fully aware of this company, we are 1,200 people strong. We're 25 years old. We have about 800 engineers worldwide. And we basically power some of the largest AI systems in production today. So we're going to cover some of that. And before, I would like first to thank and acknowledge Ray Summit. I mean, this is fantastic. You're in Paris, right below the Louvre, right, close to the Joconde. And we're basically talking AI. We're talking and creating history again, right? And this is thanks to Henry, Adrien, Michael from the show. And it's a downing thing to think that obviously people from the US, I live in the US, a lot of the speakers are coming from all over the world. And it's amazing to have that in Paris. So I'm very proud of that as a French-American citizen. So today and over the next couple of days, I really encourage you to look at the ecosystem because you have pretty much most of the ecosystem is here. It's in the hallway, it's in the exhibitor hall, and so forth. And so some of you are probably here to learn more and more and ask questions. And you have a lot of the experts that came, and we're here to answer your questions. Like they say, I'm not sure we're going to close deals. I'd love to close deals, but not sure it's going to go so fast. But basically, you're here to learn. We're here to ask questions. We're here to move the puck, and this is super exciting. So you have foundation models. We have data toolset, middleware presented. You have a lot of the AI cloud providers, right? These new companies that are basically purpose-built to deliver AI services to you as a user, as an enterprise, as a startup, or as a foundation model. And then you have obviously the typical infrastructure player that will still deliver the iron and so forth. So AI, we all know that by now. Obviously, you guys are here, you know about AI, you're here, you're interested, so you know that AI is redefining the economy. This is the fifth industrial revolution. Everything is going to be redefined. And we're just at the start, right? Most of the systems today that have been deployed are used for training, right? This is mostly training being done. Inferencing is starting, but it's the onset. It's just infant, right? Rodrigo was saying it, basically a lot of the companies are going to look at other chip makers, you know, Sambanova, Cerebras, and so forth, aside from NVIDIA. But NVIDIA is the core today with training. They're obviously going to play in inference, but you're going to see a few other players come into this as well. So anywhere from AI cloud providers, in France you now have Mistral, right? You have a great foundation model in France to be proud of. Mistral has now announced a cloud, a sovereign cloud inside France. You also have players like Scaleway, OVH, you have Cesters, FluidStack, that are here basically to promote a sovereign AI play in France, which is super important, because at the end of the day, you're creating superintelligence. That's what Tony said, right? Really what the factories of the future, AI factories are going to be, they're going to be making intelligence. This is what Jensen Huang says in NVIDIA, and he's absolutely correct. And as France has a lot of innovation, a lot of research, Europe as well, by the way, and the rest of the world, but France in particular has always been very good in math, very good engineering, very good techniques. I think it's very important for France to embrace AI, which they are, and basically use the intelligence they have and the good upbringing and education to basically be at the forefront of AI and become one of the intelligent, one of the most intelligent, I guess, countries. So, AI cloud provider, financial services, massive deployment, right? If you spoke to financial services 2 years ago, they would tell you we'll never use a GPU, right? I had discussions with financial, they would say, we'll never use GPUs. Today, they're one of the largest implementers of GPU in high-frequency trading, right? 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 GPU is common in high-frequency trading today. They're completely redefining the way you trade, the way to make money, and basically to leverage. Healthcare, life sciences, that's a good thing for all of us. Medical, drug discovery, accelerating drug discovery, modeling, genomics, as well as very large simulation, right? This is all being enabled by AI, by using GPUs, by using applications, by using models like we saw. Automotive, obviously everybody's familiar with autonomous, everybody's familiar with Tesla, BYD, and so forth. But you also have the digital twin side, you have the factory automation side. So it's permeating across the board, right? So it's super exciting times. It's just starting, right? When you hear the panel before, right, when is that going to start? When is it going to end? I'm not sure it's going to end. I mean, that's for a while, because it's really just the first phase, right? We're getting into second phase, where basically training now is being applicable in inferencing, applicable into digital transformation in enterprise companies, and so forth. But it is actually moving at a very, very fast pace. Energy manufacturing, same story. And then clearly, one of the most important ones, public sector, defense, sovereign AI, the fact that you want to control your data, where it's being done. So we come from high-performance computing. DDN has been delivering the largest system for the past 20 years for high performance. So in France, for example, some of our customers are CEA, EDF Nucléaire, Idris, CNRS, Total Energy. So really, we've been doing sovereign HPC, right, for 20 years, and now we're getting into sovereign AI, right, which is really a continuation of it. And then you have all the various elements which we discussed before in the panel. From the start, Gen AI, right? You do a prompt, you're smart at prompt, you're getting basically a prompt back, generative AI. Enterprise AI, which is starting, right, but really at the onset. We're not seeing yet the CAC 40 investing heavily into GPU. It's POCs, it's just getting their toes wet, right? And that's what's going to happen over the next 3 to 5 years. It will happen because it becomes mission critical for them to do this. Sovereign AI, massive, right? I mean, we're seeing AI factories, very massive programs. I don't know, who is familiar with gigafactories? There's a gigafactory plan in Europe, right? So the governments are actually moving. There will be 13 or so AI factories in Europe, and there will be about 4 gigafactories in Europe. The rate of investment on those, if you look at the AI factories, you're probably looking at 100, 200, 300 million. The gigafactories will be in the billions, 4 or 5 billion. And it seems a lot, but it's really not. Because to build a proper AI factory, you need 40, 50 billion. And by next year, you'll probably need 50 to 100 billion. And you've seen the announcement in the US, right, of $500 billion. So there are announcements. Obviously, this is all step by step. But clearly, there is a race, like Tony was saying, and so it is a race. And so this is what's happening in the market today. And then you're going to have physical AI. Not sure that's fantastic for society, but we're all going there, I guess. And so, yes, you will need embedded intelligence. You will need core to edge communication. And it's all going to be about data intelligence, which is what we do. So, AI data, right? So we put NVIDIA because we've been partnering with NVIDIA for close to 10 years, right? All of the systems inside NVIDIA run on DDN, right? So when you basically look at various chip generation, from the A100 to H100 to B100 to GB200, GB300, each of these very large systems have 50 or 60 of our systems in the data side to basically make sure that they get the access, get the efficiency on GPUs and the applications and the modeling. And what does it take? It takes data collection, right? Ingest, very important. Data preparation, indexing data, massive task. Model training, so that's when you align 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 GPU to train a particular model. And as part of that, checkpointing becomes extremely important because things are going to fail, right? If you have a farm of 50,000 GPUs, one GPU is going to crap out every 5 minutes. Right? So you want to make sure that basically you checkpoint pretty often so you don't lose your work, right? And it's not just checkpoint, it's also accuracy of your model, right? Once your model goes a little awry, you can actually go right back to the checkpointing from basically 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 5 hours ago, and you basically pick where the accuracy was the best and start from there. And then you apply it to Gen AI, agentic latency. When you go into inferencing, where the requirements are going to be more low latency, massive amount of data, you know, tons of multi-tenants, right? So that's the other thing also where technology is moving forward, and we have actually a new product called Infinia based on this, right? To deliver on-prem, in the cloud platforms that really manage your data and accelerate your workloads. So GPU compute, but data is super important, right? Rodrigo from Samba Nova said it 5 times, right? data is important. Data is basically your value. Data is your asset, and you need to leverage it, and you need to use it. You need to basically become smarter with it and be able to act and transform your company or whatever you do with it, right? And more data is being created, right? We're just at the onset now. You're gonna have real time, you're gonna have video, you're gonna have feeds, you're gonna have feeds from everywhere, you're gonna have basically real-time feeds into foundation models coming in. So it's really not ending. We're seeing basically customers. Last year, we had our first customer deliver 1 exabyte of data on a single site, right? By next year, and again, I don't want to scare you because we also work with companies that start with 100 terabyte, 200 terabyte, 500 terabyte, petabyte of data to manage, right? But we go all the way to multi-exabytes, and this is what people are going to need to basically analyze the data and be able to remain competitive in foundation model. The models are becoming, you're talking about 500 billion parameters. You'll be at trillion parameters in no time, and I'm not sure it's ending, right? Because again, there's more and more data and more super intelligence to be created. Again, we spoke about some of the verticals: healthcare, financial services, manufacturing, energy, defense, public sector. It's all becoming mission critical. Like everybody says, if you don't change, you'll die, right? It'll take a few years, but you'll have major problem in your operations and so forth. So everybody needs to do it. At DDN, we've already changed our customer support. We are changing our engineering, right? We're doing coding with Gen AI and agentic AI. We're actually implementing, right? We are implementing. We're showing that we have to do it and understand it and do more and more. And it's working now. So it's not easy at the beginning, but it's starting to work. So sovereign AI, right? France, Europe, tremendous opportunity for value. Mistral, Fluidstack, Core42 for funding, Nebius, Lambda, Scaleway, a lot of these neo-cloud are now being very fast and implementing CoreWeaves obviously on this, right? Should be on this slide as well. But all these companies are very interesting because they're deploying massive amount of infrastructure, making it available, and enabling you to basically start doing AI with a few clicks. And you do need locality of data, right? You're seeing the wars, you're seeing what's going on in the world. You do need locality of data. Data is your value. Data is your intelligence more and more. And it's going to be super, super, super important to basically control, understand where it is, being able to regulate, and for ethical purpose as well. So, a couple of years ago, same thing, right? Rate to change, rate of improvement. We spoke to customers and we're saying, once we're going to be at 50,000 GPUs, we're good. 6 months later, it was 100,000 GPUs. A year later, it was 500,000 GPUs. And now you're looking at companies like XAI. They're going to deploy 1 million GPUs by early next year, right? That's downing, 1 million GPUs. And the hyperscalers will have 1 million GPUs as well. So there's a race. There's like a handful of probably 10 companies in the world that will have 1 million GPUs next year. And model training, inference RAG, this is what DDN does at scale. That's what we do. That's why we have a purpose. Think about a company, we're not Ferrari, but basically think about a company that's been doing HPC, that has the team, because the team is super important, right? We're talking about AI, but at the end of the day, the humans are still the ones doing the work. The humans are the one making those machines work day in, day out, and they're super important. And the value of DDN is obviously our IP, but more importantly, our people. The fact that they understand how to run a large machine. They understand the idiosyncrasies that you need all the way through, right, when you have an issue to resolve it. Training, inferencing, RAG, so on and so forth. We're very well connected, and we're very well ready for this revolution. One quick example, right? We took our latest product, Infinia, and we said, let's just show the difference, right? So we took a rack on AWS, and we said, let's take a rack and that is doing RAG, and then let's do it with Infinia. Let's just load Infinia and access S3 on Infinia instead of S3 using AWS. And what we show is a couple things. One, 22x time to results, right, which is super cool. But more importantly, we saved about 40% in GPU time. So we went basically saving 40% in cost, GPU hour cost, right? And we gave you a time to result of 22x. Now, if you do a few queries, it's not important. But if you start doing it at thousands, tens of thousands, or millions of queries, then you start to care, basically, about your time to result. And this is just by implementing our software on AWS that we saw those results. So again, NVIDIA, our largest customer in 21, 22, 23. xAI became our largest customer in 24, right? So Grok, training, as well as inferencing done on Exascaler and Infinia, which are the name of our products. Google just announced that DDN will be managing the AI workloads in the cloud, right? So think about Google, right? They should know everything. We've been talking to them forever. They said, we don't need DDN. We don't need DDN. We know how to do it. And finally, going multimodal, basically they came to us, and we basically are in production as of this month in Google. Some of you guys might be GCP users. You can, with a few clicks, instantiate an AI workload using DDN on Google. It's a 1P offering, full security, full encryption, and so on and so forth. And then, very important, you have all the players, right? Mistral, Nebius, CoreWeave, Scaleway, Lambda, and so forth, and FluidStack, that are basically delivering purpose-built AI infrastructure, where you can really kind of do a semi-on-prem, a semi-basically in the cloud, and really cut your own situation of exactly what you need and make it more custom for your need.
NVIDIA is powered by DDN. Yeah. It's great partnering with you. You build amazing technology, really amazing technology, and without DDN, NVIDIA supercomputers wouldn't be possible. And now we're taking our partnership into a new frontier, into the world of enterprise.
So I want to thank you. Merci beaucoup pour ces 15 minutes passées ensemble. Thank you.